Welcome, Boyan, to Ivy and the CIA podcast. This is the first time our audience is going to get to know you, so you can share whatever you want about yourself and your background. Please introduce yourself, Boyan. Welcome.
Thank you, Ivy. And also thank you, Dan Crum, for having me today to speak about things that I think might be interesting, hopefully, for this podcast audience that is spending their time with us today and listening to us. Thank you so much, all of you, for spending the time with me. My name is Bojan Stricevic. I have done a couple of things in my life. This year, I'm doing something called Bank, which Ivy might speak about during the call. And I'm also doing another thing called NLP, which is a real fun and interesting idea. So it's really great to be here. Thank you, Ivy, for asking me and having me today.
Excellent. And Dan, I wish you were here, but you will have to join us next time we have Boyan back on our podcast because you both would have a lot to talk about with NLP. Dan is also trained in some of that as well, and he's a hypnotherapist. Yeah. But moving on, I'm going to start with our first question. If I were a genie and I was to grant you one wish, and the wish can't be to get more wishes, what would that wish be and why?
You're so bad, Ivy. That was something I wanted to speak about. Well, being that I've been on this and attached to this spiraling round object consisting of many atoms or many little spiraling round objects, I've heard that question asked quite a few times to people. Some answers I've heard that say sort of money, fame, fortune, great prowess with other humans. That tends to be a little more inner and sometimes selfish. And as you've said, of course, I was going to say, I want a million wishes. But since we can't do that, you know what? I've been thinking, I'm still torn because in a way, that's tough for one wish. I'm still torn between three: understanding, compassion, and action for everyone. And why do I say that? Well, if I would ask for understanding, that would allow for people to stand in each other's shoes and get to know someone better. But there doesn't have to be any compassion in that. Compassion, it can be a thought and not acted upon by the person feeling it towards that other person. Action ties these thoughts of understanding with emotions of and compassion and understanding into doing something about it. Compassion and action have the same sort of sounding ending, as shun, action. So I'd like to morph that into two, shun. So I get a word called undashing. So if I could put something, I would like that everyone, if my wish would be that everyone has undashing for everybody else on this globe, forever, humanity. So that would be my thing. I wish for undashing.
Wow. I don't even know how to top that. That's pretty impressive. But understanding compassion and action, three
Mm,
things I love to do already. And you know
mm.
that.
Yes, I
That's really
do.
cool.
Yes.
I may be a nurturer, but I live in my action.
Mm. You have a lot of action. Yes, that's you have a synthesis, a lovely synthesis of both. A heart that gives, the nurturing heart that gives the action to others, as you asked me for this interview. So thank you. Yes, you do have the immense that.
Thank you. Oh, this is cool. All right, moving on. If I had a time machine and I could take you back in time, what would you say to your younger self? What advice would you offer?
So, of course, because now we're talking about my younger self, we're speaking at a time of pre-pandemic wise, right? So the thing is, we get into daily activities in our lives, repetition, that some people then that defines people. They feel that that gives them a sense of purpose. I can say it in the sense of when you meet somebody in America for the first time, one of the first questions you ask is, so what is it that you do? I think a better question would be, who are you? Because when we do this other part, it lulls you into a dreamlike state where you go from day in and day out, and you feel that life will go on this way. Don't get caught up in that the daydream. You are here to do something that is in you. not what is outside made you to become. If I had a time machine, I wish I could have known and told that to my earlier self. Don't fall into that trap. Some people might say it is you do you. That's action. And that's, of course, something that you do, Ivy. You show you, show you, but you know what makes you you and show it. That's your sense of style. Show it to people. So that would be something of a time machine that I would like to have known a little earlier.
Wow, I'm all about encouraging people to be themselves.
Mhm.
I want to see people be their authentic self. So
Mhm.
it's exciting and thrilling to be able to be around people that show up that way,
Mhm.
whether they're in any of the four codes. I embrace it. That is
Mhm.
so cool. I like that. Be you and show up that way. Great advice.
Yes.
And if you
Yes.
could only read, here's the next question. If you could only read one book for the rest of your life, what book would that be and why?
See, I'm understanding that if I was stuck on a desert island somewhere with no hopes of rescue, and you're asking me if I had to think of that one book and I couldn't have anything else, and that would be my position in life, I would call that the book of life. What do I mean by that? I wish that book, because everybody has a story to tell. Everyone would have a grand chapter in this book of life. Reading about others, how they go through life, is the most interesting story that could be written. It would give me so many chapters that would make that time go quickly. My lifetime, it would take that long to just get through only a little bit of that book of life. Wisdom and knowledge, it's all there. What book could equal that?
Hmm. Well, the one book I know I'd pick is the Bible because of the stories and because of the
Mm,
principles that you can apply in your life.
mhm,
And
mhm,
yet, if you were to observe yourself and the
mhm,
story of your life, there's so much you can glean and learn from it.
mm. Yes, yes, and we learn love, and thankfully we learn from each other. So I know you've helped me a lot in that too. Watching how you've been going through your day, and I'm trying to get that way to be a little bit more action orientated in my day, which is a little rough for me. But I made it here on the call, so I'm happy. Thank you.
Do things that are fun. I don't know if you can tell.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that's the action in you with the nurturing. Do things that are fun. Life should be interesting. Life should be fun. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So
for
that's a
sure.
Mm.
So, okay. What is one of your biggest failures and what did
Okay.
you learn from it and why?
Okay. As we don't speak too much about it. Maybe you've spoken to our audience in the podcast about it. The idea of different personality traits, codes, and values that we all have inherently in us. One of my primary ones is knowledge. Knowing that there is so much to know, so much to learn about. Knowing that I do not know and how little I know. You know, that's the very important thing, to believe that I can be perfect. Someone once wisely said that all you can do is do what you can with what you have, and that's the best that you can do. The idea of perfection somehow, to me, is like if you become perfect, you hit a wall, and then what? You look at that wall for the rest of your life not to change, or you keep on banging into that wall. My biggest failure would be believing in perfection. I embrace something else that's called mastery. I don't fall in, for me, not anybody else. I'm not preaching to anybody else. For me, I find that then I don't fall into that trap called perfection. There's always something to learn from people around us, from situations around us, for me to get better with what I have in me. And that's all I can do. So my biggest failure would be the idea of to be perfect.
Actually, spoken from a true knowledge, because you feel like to be perfect is to be in complete control of yourself. But to be able to say, like, no, it's, I'm okay with not being perfect. I'm okay that I don't know all the answers. I'm okay that I have to make a decision without knowing everything. That's hard to do.
Mhm.
That's a beautiful
It,
answer.
it's the awareness, Ivy, of understanding that at every moment, each of us on this globe as humans do the best we can with the information and the awarenesses that we have at that moment. We do the
Mhm.
best we in 5 years. You could say hindsight is 2020 and look back and say, "Oh, I should have done it," but you can't. You can do the best with what you have. And I don't, like I said, I don't fall into that fallacy of I'm perfect. I am so far away from perfect. But thankfully, like I said, to other people who believe in mastery too, like you, who have a kind heart and give, I learn and I see how much I don't know, because there is a lot of things in life that you know way, way, way better than I do. So that's no such thing as perfection.
Yeah, it goes both ways. There's a lot of things that you know that I don't know, and that I can appreciate because I can learn from anyone. So I love that. What is
That's why we get along so well, because we have that wavelength of understanding between us.
Yes, we do. It's beautiful. What is some bad advice that you've been given that you would tell people, "Ooh, don't listen to that"?
Okay. Because life is ever changing. And it seems as though, as I've been on this earth for more than half a century, I'm seeing the pace of it gets faster and faster every year. And I have a saying: the only thing in life that stays the same is change. We don't have a lot of time to go around looking at things, and we accept things that are told to us as recommendations, and they might not be. I can go from one recommendation from somebody that tells you, I am the smartest, I'm the best, I know everything, I know what you're supposed to do, to other simpler recommendations is, for example, one that you and I have heard: to get more yeses, we have to get more nos. So there's a lot of recommendations that exist. Some of these we accept, and they might not be bad or they might not be good. A bad recommendation is only bad to me. We have to look at that recommendation of what's given. It might be good for you. So I don't give it an absolute. I say what you should do is look at those recommendations if you have the time and see if they work for you or not. But there's a lot of, like, I've given you two that I've heard in life that people have told me, and those are recommendations that you can accept. But
Ooh, that's good. That's really interesting. Ugh. Okay. What is some of the best resources that have helped you along the way?
When people ask that question, I've heard people ask that, and in sales they ask that, whatever. They're always they always have this awareness about thinking of resources as things, but they don't have to be. For me, I have an awareness. The best resources that exist are the people that I've met, their ideas, their stories, their feedback, their wisdom on how they do things, how they make something better, because a lot of people that I met have really great intentions and all they want to do is help. So they give you these resources that they figured out to help you with yours. So the best resources for me are good people who have helped me along the way, not the things that, because if it's a book, that's a dead letter on a piece of paper. As you know, and so most for you in your being, is to turn it into an action. And you being that resource, which is wonderful to see and to watch, to give me ideas about what is that best resource for me.
Ooh, what is that best resource for you? I
Uh,
find that I take action on things that inspire me,
mhm.
and then I'll observe what that result looks like, and if I don't like that result, I'll change it. So
That's a one.
I will, like, it's like, oh, I don't like how that turned out. Let me go tweak this. So, for example, the Facebook Lives. You
Mhm,
do it till you get to a place where you like the way it is,
mhm,
but not because you want to stay there. It's that, okay, I can I can do this and get comfortable enough to continue to grow while I'm doing it.
Mhm.
That's
Mm,
what I mean.
mm, mm. The nice thing is, and the wonderful thing you're doing, which definitely has a effect on how you do things as a person, is looking at the outcome, making a goal, saying, I'm going to do it this way. Let's see the outcome, and then test it and tweak it. You have a little bit of NLP in you, just to let you know, with that kind of attitude.
Oh, that's so cool. Yes. Awesome. Okay.
Mm.
What persons people in your life that have made an impact in your life and why?
I do know with things that you've said earlier in this interview, and there are some people, not wrong, not bad, they maybe have an idea of a guiding light, one influence, their principle, something they turn to that they feel close to. And that might be an overarching idea that goes for a lot of things. I also know that in many areas, I really can't transfer one person's impact into another because, as you know, I've done many different things in my life. Let me give you an example. So, if someone in music has an impact on me, right? I don't know if I'm able to transfer that into technology in another area of my life. So, trying to take things from impactful people into different areas sometimes work and sometimes they don't. Again, the idea for me, everyone has something to teach, and not necessarily one grand impact, but that each one has something, a story to tell me. Um, I so that's something about who's had the greatest in many different areas. There are different people have different impacts on me. For example, I could take you. Great. In the area of sales and influence, it's so wonderful to see, and it's had a positive impact on me because I'm happy to see growth in you, and you're doing this podcast, you're doing all these things. It's wonderful to see that wonderful influence. So, for example, you could be one.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
You're
Wow.
welcome.
Okay. And what is the biggest surprise that you've experienced in the last few months and why?
You know what? I've been lucky in this day and age to live out a life where an invention happens every day. Something's discovered or created that if it were done 100 years ago, just one thing, people would have been happy with that. For example, maybe 100 years ago, and what's been happening these past couple of days, they're able to see pictures of Mars, right? Or, I don't know if you know, a couple of days ago also, scientists were able to take a bigger picture of one atom, one. And that happened in the span of a couple of weeks.
That is so cool. The
But
discovery of new things and knowledge or new discoveries is happening at a faster rate.
yes, but the biggest surprise, now we could say that could be the biggest surprise, but the biggest surprise is the amount of good people that I've been introduced to and whom I've had rapport with over these past couple of months. You know, me coming into this thing that we're both into, I've met a lot of wonderful people. So, through those moments of my life journey that I've been making, those are the biggest surprises. I'm thinking, what would have happened to me pre COVID? You know, I would have been around here in Naples and maybe I would have seen people, but I don't even have to move out of my room to meet these great people. They come to me. That to me is the biggest surprise. The amount of great people that I've been introduced to over these past couple of months through the things that I've been doing through this technology. Again, different technology, this technology called Zoom, as you said a little earlier. That's my biggest surprise, the amount of wonderful people I met.
Very cool. If it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't have met though. So yeah, that is very, very cool that you say that. I
Yeah.
agree with you. And what is a habit or belief that has helped you along the way?
You know, again, as you asked me in the first thing, you're to try to find one thing. Like, what's the one wish? What's the one belief? What's the one habit? Now, you know where this is going to go. This ain't going to be one word, right? So, if you had to ask me that, I'd love to mash only two words together. It sounds like indecision. Well, It's not really. And maybe the podcast and the mic make it sound that way, but it is something that you will understand very well. There are two words: intention and decision. You see, life is full of moments that we don't expect. Some are negative. You can succumb to those and stay in that negativity. But in every moment and in every time, we can look around and try to do good. The intent of your actions and the decision to do good in every moment that you live is the habit that has helped me most in life, combining these two. So it's that indecision, intention and decision put together, the intent to do good, because we all have things that happen in our day that make us unhappy, you know, but the intent and decision to say, you know what, I'm going to put those away. I'm going to try to do the best with what I can and come forward with intent and decision to do good, to be happy, to be thrilled at seeing Ivy, who I haven't, been able to see these past couple of weeks, but so happy to see her and so thankful to her about allowing me this time with you guys. So my intent and decision.
Very cool. I love setting an intention and I love fulfilling it. So
Mhm.
like in my every day when I say in my video, by you listening to my voice, you are setting an intention to get in your very best mindset today. I
Yes,
believe
I've.
that. I really do believe that. I also believe that you can develop a positive mental attitude and keep it. And
Mhm.
it takes intention to set it and keep it. And
Yes.
that decision, right? The choice to say, I'm going to do it. And it's my
Mhm.
intention. It's very
Mhm.
powerful, actually, combining the two together.
Yes, and those two words are in you. They are in you. And listening to your YouTubes, and anybody who's listening to my voice in this, please go look at Ivy's YouTube videos. She does such a wonderful job. They're only a couple of minutes every day, and they give such interesting wisdoms. She reads through different things, learns about different things like John Maxwell and intentions, and they're wonderful little things to start your day with. And she makes that intention and decision to do that as a gift to all of you. So please avail yourself to it. I do. There's a lot of them. Go take a look at her YouTubes.
Thank you. I don't even know who looks at them, but the reason why I
I
do
do.
it,
At
the
least I do.
truthfully, thank you. The
You're
truthfully
welcome.
is the reason why I do it is I set the intention that I want to be good at video. I set the intention that I want to be good at public speaking.
Hmm.
And by me doing a video every day, I get in the reps. By me speaking on a video every day, I get in the reps of speaking. So both
Hmm.
both both gets both happens. Those
Hmm.
both purposes, those goals happen because I set the intention and I just tell myself you do it every day. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter how you feel. Your goals and dreams don't care how you feel. If you made a decision, you just have to follow through. The action,
Exactly.
living in my action.
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
great. This is excellent. Okay. Now, another one of those. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Okay. Here's one. Here's one question you're asking me that I'm thinking about, and I can say, okay, I can make that a little bit more concrete, not necessarily so many words. But the problem, you know what, with a superpower is it might already be taken. So you might have to find one that's unique, right? Well, mine is like that. It's already taken, but I've modified it a little.
Okay, so if it's already taken, what would it be though? The one that's
Well, I'll
taken.
tell you. Yes, the superpower is taken by someone called Cupid, and I guess the word is love. Not, and why I'm saying modified, because it's not the same type of love that Cupid goes around and gives, but it's almost as if I could dictate, now again, dictate my thoughts in the way of sending my thoughts of happiness and superpower into others. The idea of be happy, just be happy. And you know what? To project it in the best way, not that I think you should be, but in the best way, that positive intention for them. What is best for them? Not me, sending positive. You see, because that Cupid thing is like bang, and then all of a sudden it's nah. No, it's what is best for the other person. That positive. So love. I don't know what the word should be. Caring, love, well wishes. or let's just call it positive intention for their better, for their good.
I like this.
Mm.
Thinking of love in a different way, not like Cupid. Okay.
Modified.
It's giving me more to think about that. Moving on
Mm,
though, what is
mm.
something that I haven't asked you that you would like to share about?
The action bit. How can I get better at doing these things that Boyan has said? What's the most efficient way to keep trying to do these things? And if I fail, how do I fail forward? How do I get better at what I do? How do I impact more people in this way? Um, the internal style that everybody has. How do you show that out to the world? Because then people will gravitate towards you. And the better you know thyself, the better other people will know you. And there'll be a much clearer communication in between you and the other persons because everybody has an antenna and everybody finds people of like minds. So, how do you get better? That's a question I would ask, and I ask that of myself too.
Ooh, I did take it a step further. And when it comes to meeting like minded people, I
Mhm.
say that a part of it is who you resonate with, who
Mhm.
you so you and I can connect easily because your nurturing is very high, my nurturing is very high. And it
Mhm.
makes our building trust and rapport easy. It's like very natural. Whereas some people, it's like pulling an anchor. It's so hard to connect for some reason. And it's just like maybe we don't see eye to eye or we don't understand. But it is very interesting
But you
to
can
see
still
that.
send love. You can still say you send good intentions, say, even though you're different,
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing. Because
No.
who would want to look like me?
I think you look awesome.
I'm just
I
making
was
up.
even gonna say that just the fact that you have on you're dressed different. You're dressed in like a
Mhm.
blueprint. I'm thinking to myself, he's not dressed like a knowledge. He's dressed like a blueprint. Whereas like I'm wearing the same thing I wear every day, right? I show up the same day
Mhm.
in and day out, and it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I'm still showing up like this, right?
Yes. And actually, you know what? I've heard and read about a lot of successful people now have that kind of mindset. That mindset of, okay, I know what I'm wearing. I don't have to spend the extra bandwidth in the morning to worry about that. I'm done. Right. The way that I did this is because I'm a little older guard and it's respectful to the people that I'm coming to meet. That's why I decided to wear this. But yeah, I have days when maybe not wear a tie. Sure.
I think it looks great.
Thank
Fantastic on you.
you.
So, last question, and thank you so much for your time here. What is your
Mhm.
very best advice? What is your very best advice you'd like to share with our audience?
Mhm. There are certain ideas, certain rules, certain ways of communicating with people that people use around the world, like a golden rule: do unto others, you know, as some would say. But again, I always modify these things. But look into others as you would like them to look into you. See into others as an extension of you and what is important for them, and how you can help them in that path that they are traveling. Feedback that's given is only feedback, not good or not bad. There's no emotional intent, there's feedback. That intent is, I'm trying to help as much as I can you. So, my best advice is look into other people. Don't ask them your first question. So, what do you do? Ask them, so who are you? What what how can I be of service?
I love it. Thank you so much, Boyan. It is a
Mm.
pleasure having you on our podcast,
Thank
and I
you.
hope you all enjoyed it. I know I did, and can't wait to bring you on next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivy. It's been wonderful to see you again. Hopefully, we see each other very soon. Thank you to everyone on this podcast for listening to me. I hope in some way that I might have helped you in your path going forward.